let's go ahead and just jump into the announcements. Well, one of the things that's coming up for Lisa and I is that we're discussing about, of course, the future of Obinisa Talk, and we're really excited. We've decided that it's going to be a lot more efficient for us that we're going to move Obinisa Talk 100%. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Obinisa Talk. I am Apetebi Iyamile.
And I am Lisa Nikiniinaru.
And of course, as you know, we are Obinisa Talk, always coming to you to bring you the latest when it comes to Espiritismo, Orisha, and all that talk. I know it's been a while. It's been a while, but life happens. So this episode is really just a quick catch up. We're just going to give you guys a couple of announcements, and we're also going to catch you guys up on what's been happening in our lives, because we've had a lot of positive changes happen, but also a lot of just progress that has been made in our lives. Would you agree, Lisa? It's been a lot going on.
Life has been lifing, but in a positive way, not in a negative way. So
yeah, because changes doesn't necessarily mean negative changes. So let's go ahead and just jump into the announcements. Well, one of the things that's coming up for Lisa and I is that we're discussing about, of course, the future of Obinisa Talk, and we're really excited. We've decided that it's going to be a lot more efficient for us that we're going to move Obinisa Talk 100% on YouTube. That's right. We're going to be 100% dedicated to YouTube. So if you're listening to this now, at any point, please go ahead, jump on YouTube and subscribe to Obinisa Talk, because moving forward, future episodes will be on future episodes of Obinisa Talk will be on YouTube. That's what I was trying to say. Sorry for the mess up, guys.
Strictly video. Will be strictly video.
Yes, strictly video that everyone could be able to watch and listen to. So if you guys are on Spotify, if you're on Apple Music, this is going to be the last time you're hearing us on here, but it won't be the last time you are hearing us at all, because we're going to jump right over into YouTube. So please make sure you go ahead and subscribe to YouTube immediately. And also you can receive alerts on our future episodes. Speaking about future episodes, let's go ahead and talk about that. So we got some things lined up in the pipes. You know, I got an episode idea about the Yoruba creation story that's still currently in the works, and we're working on that, which is another reason why going on YouTube is going to be beneficial, because there's going to be a lot of visuals that come with that, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But then also that we're going to want to do some episodes where we're going to continue interviewing people as well. We're going to really go in depth about Espiritismo, Orisha, you name it. And also, guys, those of you that like to comment on YouTube, please continue to do so. If there's any type of ideas you may have as far as things you want us to talk about, share with us on YouTube. Let's go ahead and build that community up. Let's build up the community also on the socials, and let's continue to engage with one another.
And anyone that you want us to interview. I mean, we know a lot of people within our prospective communities. If there's anyone you want us to bring on because you just want to hear any other perspective aside from Nicole and I, leave it in the comments. Let us know. We can probably hook that up, and, you know, we can get everyone who people want to see. We can get them, and we'll have a nice little discussion with everyone. So
I love it. I love actually expanding the platforms, engaging with community, and continuing to do so. Because the last episode we did an interview, and I freaking loved it. It was so amazing. So speak of more amazing things, let's go ahead and give updates. Let's talk about what we've been up to. Lisa, you want to go ahead and kickstart that with some of the changes?
Oh, man. So I've been doing a lot of things. My latest project is the and it's, you know, it's so funny because it has a lot to do with what we are doing now. But I was asked to come on a documentary for the Library of Congress, and basically is an Espiritismo documentary about how we as espiritistas and healers work with the community as essential workers. That's the key. Wow. They're acknowledging that we are essential workers for the community. So that has been like the best thing ever. Aside from deep diving more into my indigenous roots, I've been doing a lot more when it comes to that. This was like refreshing, you know. So I'm looking forward. That's gonna come out in July. So of course I'll keep everyone updated when that documentary comes out. But I mean, aside from that, just working community. I've been very, very to myself, but working more here, if anything, than doing everything on the internet as I normally would. So, but that's my biggest accomplishment right now. The documentary is the biggest accomplishment. So, yes. What about you? What's going on?
I've had a lot of changes, as well as working professionally wise. So a lot of people know I'm a communications instructor for a college, but on top of that, I also had a career in television programming and scheduling. And so that started picking up again with some contract work, and that's moving forward. Alongside that, I'm very been advocating within the community about the importance of personal finance. I know, Lisa, you see me all the time talk about life insurance, and that started picking up. And then on top of that, personal wise, I got married last year, and I also became a bonus parent. And so integrating balancing spirituality, family life, and work all together has been what I've just been trying to do. And sometimes it could be, I don't want to say the word overwhelming. I just want to say that it's an adjustment. And it's an adjustment that has taught me to have grace for myself. But I'm so happy because it's brought out a part of me that I've always known was there, which is to be a wife and learning how to be a wife, being a mother, and also being part of a family and learning all the lessons in that. Because my relationships sometimes tend to be my biggest ways I learn my lessons and the way I grow. It's not only just the spiritual work I do for myself and with the community, it's also my intimate relationships. And I feel like I've gone through so much growth, and I look forward to even more growth that I'm going to go through now that I'm still in my honeymoon, and I want to forever be in my honeymoon stage, and then thinking about that, thinking about family planning, thinking about my career, it's just been a lot. But also I have my ebook that's coming out. So that comes out. I've officially made it that it's going to be released on the 26th of February. So if you're listening to this and it's already past the 26th of February, that means you could just go directly to my social media link and you could download my ebook. So that was also another great project that I was so happy to have accomplished, was that ebook. It's 65 pages in length, but essentially the purpose is to give at least a sort of foundation for people to be able to practice espiritismo in today's era. So even people that may feel very experienced, I want to still invite to check out the ebook, because the way I approach espiritismo, I approach it from a very today's lens. In the past, a lot of people have heard me talk about postmodernism and that era. When I started diving into postmodernism in my master's communication studies, believe it or not, when I did that and I wrapped up that program, we were leaving postmodernism and I had no clue about it. We're now in a new era called meta-modernism. I know, right? Everyone's like, oh, here comes the meta word again. But it's fascinating because we're truly existing in that space. And even our spirituality is operating in that way when it comes to espiritismo. So I implement that in the book. I implement how basically when you look at the history of espiritismo, even if it's briefly, it was all leading up to today. And it's going to continue leading on for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, 100 years down the line, 200 years down the line.
It's right in line with the age of Aquarius. Right in line.
Now, can you explain more about the age of Aquarius, because I think some people would be able to understand and get it, and others are like, Lisa, what do you mean we're in the age of Aquarius?
Oh my God, that's a whole other conversation.
I don't
I'm
mean to
not
put
an
you on the spot like
astrologer.
that, but we have to.
I'm not an astrologer like that to get in debt, but planetary wise, we've moved into the easiest way.
Yeah.
We've moved into a new era. We are like planetary wise, we went from Capricorn, which was a whole different era, which a lot of my generation was a part of, and we moved into Aquarius, meaning that it's a whole new
it's a whole new paradigm.
Oh my God, you need me to describe these things, and it's like yeah, we moved into a new era. We're moving into a more innovative era. And every time we move into a different era, even our practices change. Just like AI, everything is about technology now. Everything is more forward thinking. So you're, in a sense, bringing our old practices into this new era and new ways of thinking and new ways of practicing. So that's actually a good thing, because that's evolution. We're kind of like evolving with the planets moving into different phases. So this is a great thing, because I study this part a little bit more than you do, but goes to show how we're all in sync. Because you're like, what is that?
I'm very basic when it comes to astrology, but I respect it as a science and as a spiritual tool, and another thing about understanding that we're going into different ages is how our spiritual practices, being indigenous, continues to thrive through the ages. And I center on that I center in, that's the better way to, phrase it. I center in on Espiritismo specifically, because we had the modern era, which was when Spiritismo technically came to be, was during the modern era. After World War II.
Knowing where we were at during that period of time.
I'm
going to look that up, and that may be a conversation for us to have.
That's definitely an Obinisa Talk episode.
I'm going to look that up, because we can kind of gauge where the shift took place in each era, so to speak, and how it's changed and how it's moved. And that's actually a very interesting topic. And that's ties it all together. The astrology part with the, systematic religion part of what we do, it's interesting. Thank you. That's a good one.
Well, because when we think about modernism, a lot of people think about modernism around the time of the Industrial Revolution. So we're leaving the Civil War. We're kind of in that Civil War. If I had to put a blueprint on when, okay, now we're going into technology. Technology is speeding up. That's when we're going into modernism. Then we go into postmodernism, which is after World War II with the atomic bomb. Then in 2017-ish, we're moving into meta, because we're really seeing when social media is blowing up. Now, that's from a technology perspective. I'm just using examples. What does that mean for spirituality? When I get into that in my Spiritismo ebook, I talk about how Spiritismo was born from the modern era. And when you think about spirituality from a modern era sense, things are very objective, meaning this is how it is. There's no questioning it. This is what we do. There's no a way around it. When we go into postmodernism, we're now getting very subjective. No, it's not like that. So there's like a sort of duking out that's happening right now. But here's the thing. We're in meta. Meta is the consolidation of the two factions. we can be objective and say, hey, things are this way. These are our truths, but how we interact and engage with it is subjective. How does that apply to Espiritismo? Well, what's our objective truths in Espiritismo? We believe in a divinity and a God. We believe that everyone has a soul. We believe that everyone has spirit guides. And we believe in the Mesa Blanca, the white table, or the bóveda. And we believe that we can connect and work. So there's certain things that we, for certain, are not going to change. But what's the subjective part? How we work our bóveda, subjective. The spirits we have in our spiritual court is subjective.
How we communicate
is subjective. There's not just one way to communicate in Espiritismo to those spirits. And I talk about divination and the different types of divination that one can explore, but it's not limited to that list. How about the fact that we have an eclectic ancestry in our DNA, which can give the reason to our multitude of spirits, be it from past lives or ancestrally linked. So there's a subjective part. So that's why it's fascinating how, as practitioners in this time, we are truly meta. When we approach Spiritismo, when we approach spirituality, we could be meta. We could honor the objectiveness that, hey, there are certain things that are not going to change, but we can honor and embrace the flexibility of the subjectivity, essentially.
Well, and also the individual, because remember, that's a big part of Apetebi. A great part of it is that not everyone's journey is the same.
Correct.
It's all individual, and it's all depending on what you do, how you do it. No one can tell you it's right or it's wrong.
That's exactly. So wrapping that up, or circling back to my updates alongside the personal, that's the next thing that's up and coming. I have a pending course to plan on how to get involved in Orisha. And the blueprint of that course is based off of my father's book, How to Get Involved in Orisha with No Added Stress. Because one of the biggest things I'm finding online, people asking Lisa, is that, how do I get involved? Where do I start? Can I learn how to discern? So that's something that's been in the long time process, but things have to, come accordingly. And also on top of that, juggling personal and private life. So I promise everyone, if not by the end of the year, you will have a course that's going to come out. And if it, at least it's going to be finished, built by the end of the year, and maybe it'll launch next year, but I'm going to do my best and launch it this year. I also have other things that I'm doing. I'm currently, as well as seeking out my certification as a personal finance instructor, because one of the things I'm advocating for more is more personal finance. I guess you could say, for people in our community, especially in the African diasporic community, especially the religious community, to get better with their personal finance, to start getting organized. And it's interesting because it's all connected to my Oduinifa, and that's a whole other story. But the point is, I found that connection. I was like, okay, I see you guys. I see what you're doing. All in its due time. And now, so that's something I'm also working on top of everything. So yeah, I'm a busy bee. And busy bee.
Very nice. Yeah, life is definitely life.
Life is life.
We're getting it together. We promise you guys that in 2024, we are getting it together. This change from traditional podcasting to YouTube is going to be so much better. So now it's just getting it and doing it, and we're gonna do it.
We're doing it right now.
Exactly. So I'm excited. I'm excited too. Excited. Yes.
So on that note, we're gonna leave it, you guys. And as we always say, until the next one.